Just before we start the podcast, we would like to invite you to get a copy of our new book called Living from Your Art. You can find it on any Amazon platform. You will see it's a very bright colored orange and yellow book cover, and it was made for you artists because you help us live in a better world. We want to help you get more work. So thank you so much, and let's start this podcast. I forgot to put my face in the screen. So here I am, everyone. Welcome to the Living from Your Art podcast. I am your host, Elie Castonguay. And today it's funny because we were talking before the podcast and I realized she's the first lady to be on my podcast. And she is the first ventriloquist to be on the podcast. And she is the first Latina to be on the podcast. So I'm very happy to have her today. Kasandra Vargas from Sacramento, that is actually in Boston now to improve her art business. So welcome to the Living from Your Art podcast. I want you to open up your horizon as an artist and see that there are many, many opportunities. Oh, yes. So I am back. So please give a warm welcome to our guest for today, Kasandra Vargas.
Hi, everyone.
You can still do this, right? Like
yes, I can. Well, we're waving our fingers for those who are listening on Spotify. Wave.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Thank you for having me, Elie. I'm so excited to be the first woman Latina ventriloquist here on your podcast. I'm so excited.
Yeah, and it's just a couple of things. Woman, ventriloquist, Latina, singer, musician, puppet builder, educator, building a TV show. Like you're everything. Like you do many things, right?
Yes, I do. I've always thought, like when I was younger, I was like, man, I know I'm meant for big things. I just didn't know the big things would be with puppets. So it's, it's pretty cool. It all worked out.
Yeah, totally. Sometimes we don't really realize, but these kind of we realize some dreams that we had when we were younger, but we have to stop sometimes and say like, oh yeah, I remember this. I wanted this.
Yes.
It's very interesting. Anyway, so let's start with my first question because this is actually related to this. So as a kid, were you an entrepreneur? Like, were you the kind of kid who was selling stuff to the neighbors? And were you an artist? It's kind of two questions, but yeah.
No, that's a good question. Honestly, no, I was never really an entrepreneur. I liked to in fact, I mostly liked to stay in my, stay like in my room and also play with my siblings. I would play imagination and pretend for the longest time. So I wasn't an artist actually either. I spent like most of my days just playing around outside with my siblings. It wasn't until probably until college, after college, I really embraced my artist inside of me. I did draw here and there, but I never really thought I was good at drawing. So it was just one medium where I did, but I wasn't like the best at it, but I still liked doing it.
Interesting. So college. So why did you start drawing? What happened for you to decide?
What, like that drawing wasn't like my forte?
No, I mean like to start being like to start making art.
Oh my gosh. So it's so funny. So and it happened by mistake. Honestly, it did. I think that's the best things that happen in life is through like a crazy amazing like steps of mistakes to get you where you are. So actually I started as a person who studied wildlife biology, and I got my degree at UC Davis studying wildlife biology. And now I think about it now. I'm like, no wonder why it didn't work out for me, because this brain isn't meant for like scientific things. I'm so creative. And anyway, so like it's a funny story. And anyway, I maybe I won't go into it too much, but after I found my way out of the biology, I went into teaching children about animals, and I was like, well, how do I connect with these kids on an amazing level where I can make them as passionate about as animals as I do? And the one thing I remembered when I was growing up is all of the amazing puppet shows that I watched growing up. I watched Sherry Lewis, Lamb Chop, Mister Rodgers, Reading Between the Lions, like all of these amazing puppet shows that came out in the 90s. I loved them. And I was like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use puppets to help teach children animals. And that's how I basically got to puppetry. It was honestly to help teach kids about wildlife. And then it kind of just moved on to its own thing. It's pretty cool how it happened.
Wow, I didn't know this story. I've known you for a while, but I didn't know it started like this. It's crazy how
Yeah.
sometimes like a small decision can become like a huge thing in your life.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's so funny because like the only reason why I got there was because actually like so the story that I was kind of gonna like avoid, but maybe it'll help somebody out there, is that when I got out of college, I was like, I want to work in a lab. Me in a lab? No. You would do the same thing every single day, the same way again and again. I went crazy there. And I was like, this isn't right for me, but I'll stay in it because this is what it is, right? You go to college, you get the job you want for that you work so hard for, and you stay there and you make it work. And I got fired actually because I just wasn't good at doing the same things every single day.
Oh
So
my God, so
but it
funny.
worked but it worked out. Like, I am so grateful that they fired me, and I honestly, I wanna contact that lady that did fire me, because if she didn't fire me, I think I would have, continued onto that path of, "This is what I signed up for. This is all I'm gonna do for the rest of my life, just being happy doing this 9 to 5 job." I wouldn't have done so many amazing things in my life if she didn't fire me. So sometimes I'm like,
Wow.
I really need to reach out to her and say, thank you for changing my whole life path into something so much better than I can ever imagine.
Thank you. Because of you, I am not the worst biologist in the world and being like sad and like empty inside.
Yeah, no, it's definitely it's me. Don't worry about it.
Oh my God, such a great story. All right. Well, thanks for the answer. It's very, very interesting. So, when you wanted to become a full-time artist, I mean, this is pretty recent, right? Like, it's not like, because I think when we started working together, this is when you really took the decision. Like, you were an artist, but to make
Mm.
a living from this, um, like, did your family gave you like advice to not do it or to do it? Like,
Oh yeah. Especially like I love my family, but especially when I started like really becoming interested and working really hard for, doing this full time. I did have my dad mostly who would get really annoyed when he would see all my foam, all of my little scrappings of making puppets on the floor. And, like he would just get like, oh my gosh, this is such a mess. What are you doing? And, he would also say, like, um, you need to find a job that's a 9 to 5 that has retirement so you can retire. You need to follow only this because this is the only way to live a good life. And I'm so happy that like he actually so the only reason why he changed his mind is because one day he came to my show and he saw what I did, and then afterwards he told me, I get it now. I get what you do now, and you should see all these kids that you make smile. They just love it. You have something special about you, and you just bring so much joy to these kids. Like, you need to keep doing this. And then from then on, I had like his blessing to keep going, but it was a struggle for a while. And I'm so glad I had you as a coach or have you as a coach, because at that time when I started, I didn't have a support system It was just me doing it on my own. And it was really nice having a support system when you don't have that from, your family.
Yeah, yeah, it's like a different support from somewhere else.
Hmm.
But yeah, so for everyone watching, yeah, me and Cassandra, we've been working together for what, maybe 2 years?
Yeah,
Something like that.
2 years.
Yeah, 2 years.
It's very honestly like the way it's been, like how my business has changed so much from when I just, you know, started on YouTube to meeting you. It's just, I honestly am blown away that it's been 2 years because I feel like that there's that's just crazy how just it changed so much.
Yeah,
It's
from
so cool.
from never having sold any show to now booking every week.
Yes,
Crazy.
it's so crazy. Yes, and I'm not even getting paid to say this. Like it's just the way it is. I still can't believe it's only been 2 years since we've both worked together and it's come so far. And it's
Yeah,
only the beginning. It's so
yeah.
exciting.
Like would say Drake, we can modify his song and say, uh, started from on YouTube, now
Oh,
we're here.
how are you?
Started on YouTube, now we're here. Anyway, so we have Mariana that says, hi, thank you, and nice to meet you, Cassandra. Hi, Elie Castonguay. And we have Ray
Ooh,
J. Clemente watching from the Philippines. Holy moly. Go to
wonderful. Oh
sleep.
my goodness.
Go to sleep. It's late. So so yeah, if you're watching right now, please comment in the comment section where you're from, where you're watching from, and
Yes.
please share the feed, share this amazing podcast because we have amazing question with amazing guests. But tonight, it's the first woman. So, all right. So, what was your first paid gig? Maybe I can remember this. I don't know.
Oh,
As an
maybe.
artist, how did it go?
Do you remember?
You don't
You put
remember?
yourself in that spot. No, I'm just kidding. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Um, actually, oh my gosh. So it was so funny because I was thinking about this question too. Um, so my first gig, officially, besides like a birthday, officially was through a church. And that first puppet show then led to my children's book that I wrote later on. So it went really
Wow.
well because I made a children's book out of my very first show, which I would have never. I always wanted to be an author too when I was a kid, but I fulfilled that dream after doing the first puppet show. It was really
Wow.
cool.
But it was a gig before working with me, right?
It was a gig before working with you, yes, and that the birthday show wasn't the best, but it was because I didn't, like I started from knowing nothing about how to create a show to where I am now. I mean, if I were to go back in time, know what I know now and how do I interact with these kids and what kind of puppet show they would like, that puppet show would have been like easy. But back then, I was starting off. I didn't know a lot. So that very first puppet show of being at a birthday party was really hard because the kids were very young and I didn't know, management of children yet and how to get them engaged and make a move when they have the wiggles. So I learned though.
Yeah. And were you doing ventriloquism at that time?
Yes, I was. Yep. All my puppet shows have always been ventriloquism. I've always loved the art ever since I was young, and it's just the kind of art form I've just stuck to.
So amazing. Like remind me, like how long did you learn this before you actually showed others?
Um, I think I think it's probably about 2 years of practice, yeah, of learning it, and then I came to doing it like in front of other people. Yeah.
For 2 years,
Yeah.
you've practiced by yourself.
Yes, and what I did was I would just go in the mirror and then I would just practice like, okay, how does a puppet look when it's walking? And then, how do I move? Like saying, "Hi, how are you?" without moving my mouth. Like, and it's great because like a lot of the times, when I was walking around the house or when I was like doing chores or anytime I had a chance, I would practice ventriloquism. Like, okay, are you moving your mouth? And so I would just do it all the time. And I got really good at it to a point where like somebody besides you told me, "Hey, like you're really good at what you do. You could really make a living from this." And then I was like, "Okay, I like that idea."
So interesting. Yeah, this is usually what happens. You're gonna receive this compliment from one person, another, and then you're like, this must be true.
Yes, exactly.
I
Yes,
should find a way.
definitely.
Interesting. All right. And like, what job were you doing before making the full time transition? Like when you stop, which job did you leave to to
Oh my
be
gosh.
to be
I have
doing
to
this
think.
full time?
Yeah, I have to think back. You know what? I was well before I left to do this full time, I was working at a school for children with autism. And I
Oh
was
wow.
doing that. Yeah, I was doing that like full time. And then, it started getting so much so, and I started booking so much. They're like, you can't can't you can't be at your puppet shows and come here because you just don't have time for us anymore. So they're like, we just can't keep having you here because you're so booked. And that's a good thing. Like that's one thing I really liked about them was that sometimes I would say, hey, can I have the day off because I have a puppet show? And like they were really nice about it, and they were very flexible. So they were very supportive of my dreams. But
Wow.
it was true. I started getting booked so much that they're like, okay, like at this point you're not here anymore. I'm like, yeah, so it'd be good if I just leave. So that's what I did though. Like it just worked out, and they were so supportive of it, and they were so proud of me. It was like not leaving on bad terms whatsoever. Like they were just so supportive and happy for me.
Yeah, because wherever you go, I think that people really like you. So it's a good thing that they were supportive because they liked you and they were like proud of you and happy to
Yes.
see you happy.
Yes, and I think what it was too is because sometimes I did like free puppet shows for them too. Like I did one where I was an elf as just a Santa, and I think that helped them to see the magic of what I do and how much joy puppets can just bring to kids, that they were like, yeah, we get why like you're going on because you need to. So they got it. It was cool.
I love it. All right, cool. And like, did you, let's say when you started to book shows, um, did you ever like wanted to give up because it was too hard, that there was too many barriers, like too busy or
Oh my gosh, that is such a good question, Eli. And there, it's not, all sunshine and rainbows over here. There are some times where it's like it's not give up exactly because I can never stop myself from being an artist ever. It's like I've unlocked a door, puppets are the key. I can't just close that door. But, sometimes there's times where it's like, "Oh, I have a new puppet show to make, and I only have, like, a week to make this, and is it good enough? And did I practice enough?" And then I get into the spiral of thinking, and I'm like, "Maybe I should just cancel." I get like that.
oh yeah, yeah, I know this.
See, you had to hear it, my dad had to hear it, and they're like, "You're stressing me out, just go." But honestly, thank you to your advice. Like, I never ever cancel a show because of that reason. I do my best, and every time I do go, even when I feel like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be, like, oh my gosh, it's not as perfect as I could have it to be. It's not amazing as I want to be. People still say at the end, we love what you did. You are amazing. We love to have you back sometime. So it's always been positive. It's never been like any kind of bad thing that ever happens afterwards. It's pretty cool. Like, and then I feel good afterwards. Like, I did it. It was good. They liked it. The kids were laughing. So you did it.
Yeah, totally. Well, it's like this podcast. We were both stressed out at the beginning,
Yes.
and then we're doing it, and afterwards we're going to be like, ah, it was so much fun, and like we should do this more often, and I would like
Right.
to come back. Like it, I think that when we go through life more and more, we realize these things that the kind of stress that is there, like I was telling, like it's the body that's reacting to something that is not really
Mhm.
logical. So embrace it
Yes,
and go through it. Like it's really interesting.
right.
All right. So in your opinion, why some talented artists are able to make a living from the art and some others who are as talented or even more talented are not able to do it?
You know, I reflected on that question too, because I did watch some of your podcasts, so I kind of heard some of the questions you've asked, and so that's when I reflected on to myself. And for me personally, I would think that, someone who is more talented than me may have a hard time selling their art is simply because they're not knowledgeable of where to even start. I mean, when I started my business, I didn't know, okay, who do I sell my art to? Like, who do I call? Who do I go to? Like, who would my clients be? No direction, no idea. Like, how do I even start my business? And what's funny is that, like, when we first think of this big old project, such as like if you're an artist wanting to start a business, you think of all these things and factors you have to put into place, and it can be overwhelming. And I think that overwhelming process of, oh my gosh, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to find my clients, I have to make the shows that the clients might like. I don't know what they like though. All that adds up and it makes people pause and not able to, you know, sell their art because of that. And I've had, which is amazing and I love so much, I've had ventriloquist ladies reach out to me and ask me, how do I start? Because
Oh,
yeah, it really is a common thing that happens, that it's just so much, so many directions one person can go into that it becomes overwhelming and it might stop somebody. So that's what I think would be one of the main reasons why that some artists who are more talented than me may have a hard time selling their art simply because they're not knowledgeable on just where to start.
interesting. Do you think that like sometimes they can have like false ideas, the wrong ideas on where to put their focus?
Oh my goodness, yes, completely. Yes, definitely. I 100% agree. Like, I know when I first started out, I was trying to do just this focus on this one company because I really wanted to work for them. And I kept on focusing on it and focusing on them. And they were like, well, we just can't. And I spent so long trying to like say, well, then I'll actually have to say that I can't. I was like, okay, fine. I guess like that's it. I guess I guess wants my art, but that was just one client, one person out of how many people that live on this planet. You know? And yeah, that's just, and sadly I feel that some people like artists like me that do not know, like, okay, where can I put my efforts in, they might get in that trap too of just calling one client and saying, they said no, I guess everyone will say no because I'm not good enough. No, it's just you got to find the right people that align with who you are and like you, and you'll find your people. You just have to keep reaching out to other people besides just one person or
Yeah,
company.
that's so true. I think it happened to many people to just receive one no and to generalize like
Yeah.
everybody's gonna say no.
Yeah, and that's such a false belief because someone out there needs their art. Like everyone needs art. It's just who you talk to that needs it
I
is
love
the
it.
most
This
important
is such a
thing.
great answer. All right, and who is your usual buyer? Who buys your shows usually?
Oh, I love this question. So, libraries have been my number one customer, so it's been great. and
Okay.
then it's daycares.
Okay. So libraries and daycares. And do you personally use like your personal story with them or not necessarily when you sell the show?
Honestly, yes. Yes, I do use my personal story because I
Okay.
think, I feel like you're not only selling your art, but you're mostly selling who you are as a person. So I feel like you telling some of your story, it does. Like it helps. But I don't tell my story to everybody if they're in a rush or like they're like, I'm busy. It's like, okay, you know what? Don't worry about it. If you just want to book with me, it's okay. If not, totally get it. No one needs to always know my life story. But
No, no,
if
you
they
need to
are,
hear it. Take 15 minutes. Once upon a time,
when I was 5 years old,
there was a little girl, and the little girl really take take 30 minutes, please.
they just, it's okay. Your library doesn't need you that much.
Books can get read without you. All
Yeah.
right. So what do you do on a day-to-day basis to find clients?
So how I find clients is, um, well, I pretty much have like a tickle file that I go off of. And then from there, I just pull out like what libraries I have in my little tickle file that day, pull them out, and then just call like basically 5 people. I do my best to call 5 people, um, from these places, and then do it every day. And then those 5 lead to like 25. So at the end of the week.
Wow.
So yeah,
And
it works
before
out.
doing like 5 calls per day, just like that, were you confident to do phone calls like this before you started doing that?
Oh my gosh. No, like I had no idea what to say when I first did it. I mean, you get used to calling people on the phone to say, "Hi, how's it going?" But to, approach it in the way of like trying, which I know now, not, from your teaching, like you're not trying to approach it like it's a sales pitch, but just to make a friend. But at that point, it's like I didn't know how to just communicate with people that, hey, I have this art that I create and I'd like to sell it to you. So for a while, it did take me a while to feel comfortable. But now I feel like I could just talk to anybody. And then even like I literally got 3 no's today. And I was like, yes, thank you for telling me you are not interested. Because it saves my time, and it saves your time. And then I can find people who, it gives me more chance to find people that are more in my kind of frequency of, my kind of I guess like personality. So
Yeah, yeah, because you want to work with people who actually admire what you do and like what you offer. So that's a great point.
exactly. Yes.
All right. And what actually like what kind of objections do you get mostly from potential clients?
Objections, like saying the reason why they wouldn't want to book.
Yeah, why do they say no or they don't want to book? Like, is it no because we hate ventriloquists? Like we kill them usually, or or no because like later or what kind of?
Yeah. So, I'm trying to think of like the one I hear most often. Because sometimes they don't say no. Sometimes they say, "Oh, well, I need to talk this over with somebody else," and or they'll say, "We'll tell you if we're interested in booking you." And then I say, "Okay, well, that's a no," and that's okay. Um, but for the most part, it's just sometimes like, sometimes they just say, "We're not interested." And I said, "Okay, that's fine." And I'm not every for everybody, and that's okay. Or they'll say, it's just not something we're looking for. Like we have programs set, and we're not looking for what you do in particular here. And then I'm just like, okay, well, that's like, what are you looking for? Okay, I also do music. I also sing. And if they say no, no, it's okay. I'm like, okay. At least I tried like different areas because I'm more than one artist that does ventriloquism. So
Do you
you
need like? I also like repair cars. Do you need your car repaired?
right, right.
I do massage. I don't know. Like, what do you need?
Like, what do you need? I can do for you.
I can fix your pasta. Do you need pasta?
Yes.
Tacos? Uh, all right. Um, and what is your most successful action to actually get bookings? You probably answered, but what do you feel is like when you book? What do you feel is there? Like, is it connection with the person, like you said, or
Like successful action that like leads me to booking. I would say it's just being my authentic self. Getting them on the phone and talking to them. Because sometimes like I'll get up, like sometimes I know my energy is high up there, and I get so excited when I make cold calls and talking to people about my art and what I do. I get pretty high in there in energy. And sometimes I get people that say, I don't need to see what you do. I just love your energy. We need what you are here in this library or here where we are. So we're just gonna book you. How much is your show? Let's book you right now. So yeah, like
wow?
sometimes it really is just like talking to them like you would with anybody else. And like people will like you for you and they will book because you're you. And that's happened to me so many times where they're like, yeah, we just like your personality. We know you'll be great already. We can just tell. So when you want to book this thing, it's
That's
really cool.
amazing. That's the best compliment you can get. Like people are buying your personality, not even your talent.
Yeah. I can be like, I'm a ventriloquist. Move my mouth with my puppet. And they're like, well, she was.
I don't even move my lips when I talk to you on the phone.
Yeah.
Wow, that is great. I love it. And how do you stay motivated even after being rejected or being told no?
That's so honestly, because so what I do personally is, first of all, I have pictures on the back of my desktop of all the interactions I've ever, like I have so like people take pictures and they send me like, oh, the kids, here's what the ones of you and the kids. And so I'll keep that on my desktop as I'm making cold calls and say, there's people out there that need joy and I could give it to them. And this is my experience, how much joy I feel from it. Because it's not just them, it's me. So I feel like that motivates me a lot is looking at pictures. And another thing that motivates me a lot too is just like having an optimistic mindset about if someone says no, hey, that's one more person that's saying no. And then you get only so many no's before you'll get a yes. So I'm closer to getting a yes by all these no's because we could get no, no, no. There's going to be one person out there that's going to say yes. It's coming really soon. So I always tell myself that too.
I love it. Being positive. Yeah, I like the ratio, the no's and yeses ratio
Right.
can just get so high. Hey, I forgot to show you the pictures. You talked about pictures. Let's
Yes.
show the
The ones that are
pictures.
on my desktop.
Yeah, I have a couple of pictures so you guys can see a little bit what she does, so we can still
Yeah. I'm this way.
show our face. Hello,
That's me.
hello, that's
Yeah,
her.
that's a
Hello, so
There's
cute. Look at
another
that
one. Look
joy.
look at that. Oh, I'm so happy. Look at that. I'm smiling on this one. You
Hugging a
can't even see the
puppet,
kiddo.
nothing like this. And look at that crowd.
Yeah, amazing. And that's a client I do over and over again too. Like that one is one that I keep booking year after year because they're just so amazing.
Yeah, you're a superstar. Every time we meet, her name on the Zoom is superstar. I
You know
think
how
you should have put this for the interview,
I
superstar.
was so tempted, Eli. I so wanted to, but I was like, oh, maybe I should behave because Eli. But I literally was gonna put superstar as
No, it's fine. People have to know who you are, so it's good.
yeah, exactly. But I was so tempted.
Right. So, um, do you believe that any talented artist, if they put their mind to it, can actually make a living from their art?
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. You mean if I can do it and I started off like just on YouTube to where I'm at now, like most definitely. You just gotta really remain positive.
Yeah, and you have this. So yeah, I think it's so underrated being positive because it's easy to say, but it's not necessarily like uh, easy to do. Like when you get a rejection, sometimes it can just you can get some pictures of past rejections that you had as well. So I think but it's what it takes.
It is. It is what it takes. It really takes like the positive idea of, okay, that might not be my client, and that's okay. We'll just go in a different direction and be adaptable and flexible with who we talk to.
Yeah, exactly. Flexible. I love this. Yeah, totally. And what is your best advice that you've received concerning your art business?
Best advice. Probably do the show even if you're scared. That's one that really really helped me out a lot, because I do. I get scared, I get nervous, and sometimes I do want to say, well, you know what? I just don't want to do it. But you do it, and then like I tell myself, you'll do it, you'll do a good job, they'll love you. And they do. So it's really cool. Another one too, which is really good, is which is, it's fun, but it's also sell your show before you even made it, because sometimes clients will tell me, well, we're looking for a particular theme. Like one time I had like a lady from the library say, we have a show and it's under the sea theme. Do you have any under the sea puppets? And my immediate thought was, no. But I'm like, yes. I can make one. And I did, and I used Shelly for every single show that I have now. So it worked out in the end. Like I got a really cool puppet. Thank you. Oh, and you didn't see, but in the back of every puppet I ever make, they always have a heart.
Oh, so cute.
Yeah, so this is Shelly's heart right there. But they all have a heart because they're interacting with the kids. But yeah, she comes to every show with me. And it really made me like have to make something new. But I did it, and now I have a new puppet, and it worked out, and they liked it. So it was great.
Yeah, that is such a good advice. I don't know if I gave you this advice, but like to create, like it forces you to create. And I feel that when you have a talent, you can always create.
Yes, and that's what I kind of like about too making customized shows for libraries sometimes too, because it's like, we are humans of habit. We always try to get into like the same kind of routine and the same kind of show. But when someone challenges that and gives us something new to work with, that's when we really grow. We don't really grow in our little comfort zone. We grow when we're challenged. And when people, ask for new shows you don't have yet, it really challenges you to grow as an artist. And like I think those are the shows you really remember the most, because you've challenged yourself so much in different ways.
Yeah, such a good point. Hey, I'm wondering if there's anyone watching the show right now who would have questions for Kasandra. So put it in the chat, in the comment section. If you have a question, I'll try to ask her the question. So
I would love that.
until then, I'll go to my next question. So, what is the worst advice you've been given concerning your art business?
I'm trying to think. Worst advice, that I couldn't make a living from it, that I needed to stick to a 9 to 5. I think that was the worst advice I've ever gotten.
Wow. Yeah, is it really an advice?
Yeah, it's not really. Honestly, though, it was like it was advice. Like it was advice to, stay as a state job, just, do puppet shows, and just advice to you, just, like stay in a 9 to 5 so you're comfortable. It's like, okay. I just didn't think that was good advice.
But it's true, because I believe that most people who would give this kind of advice are people who had a passion, but they did not go for it. Or maybe they tried and it didn't work. So they have their own past failures or past experiences. That is what they know. So they're
Right,
kind of trying
exactly.
to protect you.
Mhm.
It's nice of them to try to protect you, but you're not them. So that I think that's the big difference.
Completely. And you know what's funny too is that we now live in an age where it's like cool and hip to be an entrepreneur. Or like it's amazing to do that. And you can be an influencer and get paid to like just make videos. Back then it wasn't a reality for
Yeah.
people, like that worked this is a whole new ball game, and we have so many different ways to expand. It's just so cool. I'm so happy I live in this generation because I feel like we have so many more open doors to us to monetize off of like YouTube, social media, Spotify. Like there's so many things that we could do
Yeah,
now.
more
It's like
opportunities. I agree. More, yeah, a lot more, a lot more. So, do you believe that artists who have more money can actually help more? That's a weird question. No, actually, the first part of the question is important. Do you believe that the starving artist concept is a bad thing?
yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do. Because it completely normalizes and it makes it like something for someone to fall back on, like, well, my one first person I ever called said no. I guess I'll be the starving artist, you know? But it's like that's just a false belief that's been placed into people. And it kind of gives us an excuse of something to like fall back on, if it doesn't work out. But it can work out. You just have to work really hard for it.
Yeah, it's true. So, so if artists would make more money, they would be actually helping, could help more people.
Oh my gosh, yes. I think so because you know, um not only can you give to charities, but by giving yourself the opportunity to make more money and live off your art, not only are you, you know, full of joy, but the people around you, your family's full of joy, the people you perform for, they're going to be full of joy because you're living off of something that you're so passionate about. And people can feel that radiate out of you, which I feel happens with me too.
Very true. Such a good answer. And like, what do you think that it would be beneficial to have more artists in the society making a living from their art?
Oh my gosh, yes, definitely. There's there's such like there's so much need for joy in this world and happiness and for people to forget about, like their everyday struggles. Like when you have someone who performs in art, you really create a new reality or just have them escape from their reality for a while. And that's such a breath of fresh air. Even myself as an artist, I love watching other artists because it brings me joy and feeds my artist. So not only would you be helping your community, but you're also helping your community of artists around you to feed their souls because art does feed souls and it makes us happy inside.
Yeah, a good cheeseburger of art for the soul. All right. And wh- what are your goals related for your to your art business for the next 10 to 20 years?
Oh my goodness, what a good question. So as you stated earlier, I am going to school so to expand my business even more. So I'm hoping that I will start making a children's television show. So that is my next big step is to make a children's television show, probably make another book eventually. But for now it's mostly, that's what I want to do the next 10 years is make a really good children's programming.
I love it. Yeah, and then yeah, Cassandra is an author. She made a book. I don't know if I can show it, if I can find it on Amazon right here
Oh, okay,
quickly first.
yeah. I knew I should have put it on the side just in case.
Oh, you have it on the side?
No, it's in
No?
my little dresser
Okay.
drawer.
Okay, it's fine. I'll find it
Yeah,
on
sorry.
Amazon. If I type, what's the name again?
Oh,
Jesus?
the most amazing person to Jesus.
Most amazing person.
To
So
Jesus.
it's a uh,
Yes.
Christian book for kids.
Mhm. And that was like
Yeah.
the very first official puppet show I did,
Yeah, I'll
um,
try to show it here.
for a church.
I'll try to share. I never shared before. Bear with me, guys.
Yeah.
Never shared.
Fingers
Oh,
crossed.
I have it here. I think I have it.
Yay! Let's hopefully. Fingers
All right,
crossed.
so now it's supposed to be sharing so you can see it.
Ta-da!
So if you want to get
Yeah.
this, there's also the audiobook
Oh, thank you. Yes.
included with it, so that's crazy. And if you have kids and you like you're Christian or not, or you're interested in seeing what she did, I love this. All right. Yes. So we have a question from my father.
Yay! Oh, I got so excited. My necklace flew.
Can you explain shortly how it's feasible to speak in pitch outside your throat loudly and without moving your lips? In short, how does it work?
You know, I get this question asked a lot, and that is such a good question. So, ventriloquism comes from a word of meaning talking through your belly. So, when we use ventriloquism, we're actually talking through our little belly here instead of out through our voice through here. So, a lot of what we use is in like the chest regional and the belly region. So,
Wow.
it's easier to project your voice that way. So, because the other way would really hurt like your your voice a lot. Mhm.
Is it similar to like the singers, like the
It
professional
is
singers?
very similar. Like when I started learning to sing, that's helped me a lot with ventriloquism.
Hmm. So if you learn to speak with your chest instead of like here,
Uh-huh.
has to come lower.
It
Like
has to come lower. Mm-hmm.
so you have to practice these kind of muscles.
Yes, exactly.
Wow, interesting. I never thought of this.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I hope it answered the question, Serge. So maybe we'll do a ventriloquist show with me and my father and son ventriloquist from Montreal.
Just love it. I'd
All
watch
right.
it.
So we have another question from Mariana here. She asks, "What is the secret of your so contagious energy?"
Oh, Mariana, you're so sweet. Gracias. Thank you.
Red Bull,
Just
Red Bull,
yeah.
no. Red Bull.
Honestly, I've always been this way.
I can tell. I can say I've known you. You were this way as well.
Yes.
But I think you're even more this way since you're living from your art.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I agree. Like since I started living from my art, I do have a more happier energy. I do. I sense it. It's great. Like I live in a different type of, energy space and I really like it. I like to
Yeah,
stay there.
to living like it's not even. I think we should change the podcast and the name of my book. It's live. It's not living from your art. It's living from your purpose.
Oh, that would be so good because it's so true.
Right?
I love that. I
Living
like
from
that.
your purpose.
Yes.
Maybe
Or like
that will be my next book.
or the mic. I conclude.
Oh, I cannot go.
Oh no, you can't go the mic. The mic is only for me. Thank you.
Oh my god, that's so funny. All right. So I'm down to my last question.
Okay, go ahead, Eli. Sorry, I'll get away from the mic. Sorry.
I don't read my question as you can see. What what would you say to the artists watching us right now who don't know where to start in order to make a living from the art?
Oh, who don't know where to start? Wowzers, that's a big question. So, when I didn't know to start or how to start, I took it little steps by little steps at a time. And what I did too was I asked fellow artists, how did you start? So I would say contact your local business people, contact, there you go, coaches that can help you, such as Eli. Eli's an awesome coach. But any kind of, honestly, having a success, having a coach to help you guide through where you need to go next is really helpful, whether it be Eli, whether it be somebody who is in the same industry as you. There are Facebook pages, there are places where you can get mentors. You can definitely try that too. But just having someone that is first and foremost your cheer that could cheer for you, and also somebody who can guide you is really essential to have when doing a business or when
Very good
starting your business.
advice. Yeah, it's kind of like getting support.
Yes.
The right support, though. The right support.
The right support. Yes. Yes. Yes, exactly. I had someone that was very loving, my sister. She was very loving. And I told her, okay, you're gonna be in charge of making me accountable to be like 25 calls in a week. And sometimes I wouldn't meet that, and she would go, "It's okay." And I'm just like, "No, you're supposed to say bad. No, it's fine. You're human. No."
It's okay. I still love you.
Yeah. So family members might not be the best because they will love you no matter what. But like someone who isn't a family member is really good for an accountability partner, which can be very helpful.
I agree. I
I
agree.
love
Well,
my sister, but yeah.
we have another good question from the family, my
Oh,
family.
aw.
Have you ever thought to go to AGT?
It's a good question. No, never thought of it. I don't know. I just feel like it's so overflooded with talent, as ventriloquism wise, that I never really thought about that. No. Yeah, and I feel like honestly, I feel like more of my purpose in life is to not just sing and entertain, but to really be of service to children. So I don't think that by applying for AGT, I would really fulfill that purpose in my life. So I never really thought about it.
I love how you're so focused. This is this is a very high ability to stay focused.
Thank you.
I love it. Thanks, Serge, for the question. So, where can people find you online?
They can find me online through my Facebook page, Kasandra Vargas. Just say, hey, I watched Elie's podcast. Like if you have any questions for me, I am more than glad to talk to you. I'm also on YouTube under Peanuts Playhouse. That is my company's name after my first puppet. So you can find me at Peanuts Playhouse too. Yeah. And then
So
on Instagram.
YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and you have a website as well, right?
Yes, it's let's see, is peanutsplayhouse.org.
Cool.
Yeah.
I love
So many
Peanuts.
platforms.
What?
So many platforms. It's great.
Yeah, omnipresent.
Omnipresent.
All right, Cassandra. So that was it for the interview. I hope you liked it.
I loved it so much. Thank you for having me on here. I'm so happy that I could represent a woman-owned business.
All the
I'm
all
so
the
happy.
all the Latina ventriloquists of the world. Only one or two.
Yes.
So
Thank
yeah,
you
so
for
thank you
having
so
me.
much. So I'll remove you from the screen and I'll do the outro but stay in the virtual studio so we can chat.
Okay, sounds good. Bye, everyone. It was good talking to you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye. So yes, everyone, that was amazing. Kasandra Vargas, one of my good clients. She's amazing, isn't she? Isn't she? She's like pure joy and energy put in a human body. So yeah, thank you for watching. Next week, I don't know yet who's going to be the guest. I have an idea, but I'm not sure if she's available. Um, it should be a painter, but maybe it's going to be someone else. We'll see. It's a surprise. We like mysteries, right? So thanks for watching. Thanks for being of support. If you like this podcast, please share it with other artists because this is the goal. The goal is to have people watching the podcast, learning from it, getting my book as well, because my book is all my tips that I give in my one-on-one coaching, but put in a book. And sometimes it's good to have me as a coach as well, as Cassandra said, because you have this one-on-one personalized help. But first, get the book, read it, understand it, reread it, apply it. And if you're having problems, then you can contact me. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next week for another episode of the Living from Your Art podcast. Ciao.